Good morning, DZRJ, 8:10 a.m. The Voice of the Philippines proudly brings you Mind Matters with Denise Celdran. Learn how you can manage your mind in order to live a happy life. And now, here's your host, Denise Celdran.
Good morning, everyone. It's a fairly cloudy Thursday morning, but a beautiful day nonetheless. It's good to be back. And how is everyone? I hope you can join me today by calling 897-8374, 895-4460, or log on to DZRJ 810 a.m. on Facebook. And there you can click a link to watch live or to listen live, depending on your bandwidth. Anyway, today's topic is saying no problem to your problems. Okay, so what is a problem? Why did I think of this topic? Because this week, actually, I am teaching a course. I'm a teacher of this course called The Art of Living. And I'm teaching people affected by HIV. So it's not necessarily infected because some of them are caregivers, loved ones. And although a lot of them are HIV positive, mostly men, mostly gay men, actually. And it's a 6-day course. Every evening after work, they come over and we go through the course. And last night, actually the past 2 nights, we have this process. The centerpiece of the Art of Living is called Sudarshan Kriya. It's this very intense breathing technique that just allows you to get rid of all of your hurts, worries, problems. You know, when you're doing this intense breathing technique, I ask them to put it all into the circle of breathing. It runs for 2 days and it's very intense. And there's one guy there, I won't mention his name. Let's just call him, let's say, Jonathan. I know Jonathan is HIV positive and I think he's already on antiretrovirus because we actually don't talk. I don't ask him who's positive, who's negative or anything. But with Jonathan, he put in his form that he's already taking antiretroviral medicine. So I knew that he's already battling with AIDS. And on the Tuesday, after the first breathing process, he just, burst into tears. And then in the sharing after, he was sharing that he was crying because he all of his depression, all of this heaviness and all of this intense emotions that he's been feeling ever since that he's been diagnosed, all of a sudden came out. Like he felt such a release with the breathing process. And so, of course, no comment because, we don't judge anyone's experiences. And then last night, we went through the same process, intense breathing technique, just letting go all of your issues, thoughts, emotions, and everything into the breath. And then his sharing after was that finally, this sense of peace came over him. And he just realized he said, kaya ko to. Whatever it was and whatever, he doesn't know or can explain what happened during the breathing process. But all of a sudden, he knows that whatever happens in his life, he can handle it. And he just felt this complete sense of letting go. I think was his description, this letting go and this surrender. And when I was driving home last night, here I was, I had a busy day and doing this and doing that, thinking I had problems. And then I'm faced with somebody who's been diagnosed with HIV on medication. And to have such peace and acceptance towards his situation, I was like, wow, I guess problems are relative. You know what I mean? We think that whatever's happening in our life right now, things didn't go our way because whatever the color of shoe we bought was wrong. And, we scream at the sales lady for giving us the wrong change. And all of these little petty things, have a way to get us away from our center. And here is somebody with a life-threatening disease who knows, if he's not careful, that his days may very well be numbered. And so peaceful and accepting of his situation. So I started to think how do people react to their problems and what are problems. I guess it's a matter again of perception, observation, and expression. We perceive a problem based on our experiences, based on our memory of what happened to us as children, what happened to us when somebody did us wrong, what happened to us when somebody broke up with us, whatever. We carry these little wounds in our psyche. We store them in our memory somewhere. And then as we go around in daily situations, dealing with people, these little wounds come up and prick us in our daily life. And this definitely affects the way that we interact with other people. So problems are you can have a problem. Like, for example, you have to throw a party and it was a last minute. Somebody called you, you have to throw a party for so and so. You can look at it as a problem and say, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to buy this, I have to go this, and oh no, what if nobody goes, and I text, and I'm going to spend so much money, and nobody comes, and nobody eats the food, and etc., etc. All these insecurities come up. Or you can view it as, wow, I'm going to throw a party, I'm going to go shopping, I'm going to choose a cake, I'm going to choose a menu. You know what I mean? So how to have that frame of mind all the time? Yeah, because I always believe that there's no such thing as a problem that can't be solved. No matter what, if you accept it as it is, whatever the situation is, whatever the problem in parenthesis is, if you accept it as it is with clarity, this is where perception is very important, then it no longer becomes a problem. It becomes a situation that you can find a solution to. But if you view it as a problem and all of your emotions are so embroiled in that problem, the chances are you won't be able to find any solution towards it. It's like what Einstein says, is you can never solve a problem with the same frame of mind that created it in the first place. So you have to observe, be very factual about the situation. Okay, so for example, you have down to your last 25,000 pesos in your bank with all these bills piling up, all these credit card bills and everything. I mean, that's a serious problem. But if you accept it, okay, this is my situation, instead of always being, a lot of people get into that kind of situation because they're always in denial of it. So their thinking isn't clear. Their perception of situations around them aren't clear. Obviously, how could have they incurred such a big credit card debt if their perception was correct? So the minute the first thing that you have to do is just get clear right away about the situation. And try to look at it objectively. Maybe you can ask somebody else to help you look at the problem objectively. And then you kind of break it down. Okay, so what's it gonna take to solve this problem? If it's a problem about, I always maintain that if you have a problem, you can either solve it two ways. Either it needs money to get solved, or you drop the ego. And this dropping of the ego is very, very important. Because a lot of times we can't solve or surmount our problems because our ego is tightly holding on to our beliefs and our control of the situation. So you're faced with this problem of finances. The first thing you can do is drop your ego and admit to somebody, hey, look, I have a problem. How can you help me? Either see your banker, see a relative that has some financial savvy that can help you make a program, how to solve how to pay your bills, how to talk to your credit. You drop the ego, talk to your creditor, say, I'm in this situation, but if you give me 6 months, and a lot of times, even banks, even if you give them the situation, they'll always come up with a payment program that works for you. But very important is you need to drop the ego first. First, you need to get clear and drop the ego. And to be able to be humble enough and say, hey, look, I have a problem. I have no money and this is what I need to do. So get clear with that. Come up with a solution for that particular situation. If the problem has to do with relationships, all the more, this is the kind of problem that money can't solve. Because, you can't buy happiness. You can't buy friends. You can't buy love. So oftentimes, if the problem is to do with a relationship, it's dropping the ego. Okay, so maybe you believe that somebody did you wrong. Okay, anyway, we'll continue this after the break.